Hello YouTube and welcome to the Piper Report. So I'm leaving a poker tournament right now. I have like a 100-mile drive back home and I bubbled. And for those who don't know what bubbling is, it means you take the place right before the money. So top 10 got paid, that is the final table got paid, and I took 11th. So I'm mad and I'm stressed and I'm on my way home. And I know I haven't done a video for a while, and it is night outside, so this is mostly just audio here, but I want to talk about a couple different things. The first one is kind of regarding the Texas shooter from last week. And I want to do a video about this last week, but I never did, but what happened in Texas is the left's worst nightmare. And what I mean by that is that the gunman was stopped by a good citizen with an AR-15. And I think it was Slate News that said the gunman had an AR-15 and the person who went after the gunman, the good citizen, had a rifle. So they were purposefully trying to negate the fact that the good Samaritan was using an AR-15. Yeah, so it just shows you their mentality, but the left, this whole thing in Texas is the left's worst nightmare because they argue that there's no such thing as a man with a good gun. You know, people on the right argue that, yeah, but guns, if a guy with a gun was there, he would prevent deaths. And they said, no, that doesn't work, that doesn't happen, that's just hyperbole. Well, now we know this is not true. The guy with the Good Samaritan chased down the shooter with an AR-15. He probably saved many more lives. And the reason I say that he probably saved many more lives is because the gunman had a lot of other guns in his car. So that Good Samaritan could have saved maybe a dozen lives. And that is a perfect example of why we cannot just get rid of guns. It's not going to help anything. Gun control doesn't work. First off, the shooter, he wasn't even supposed to have a gun. He was arrested for domestic abuse. He basically, I think it was his baby, if not his baby, it was a baby, crushed the baby's skull. He was not supposed to have a gun to begin with. And I saw on Crowder, he was talking about an article where, the article, I forgot what magazine or what organization it was, but they said that he got a gun from the domestic violence loophole. It's like, what? There's no such thing as domestic violence loophole. He got a gun illegally. He was not supposed to have a gun. So instead of making more gun regulations, we just have to enforce those that are already there. But people don't understand this. That is, the left doesn't see this. They want to keep on adding new regulations. If you've seen my Truth About Gun Control video, you will know that the CDC estimates that 80% of gun deaths, gun homicides, are gang-related. Well, how many gang members do you think go to their corner gun store and use their ID, illegally purchase a gun, then go kill a rival gang member? I don't think it's that many at all, if any. They get their guns illegally. Therefore, gun regulations are only going to take guns away from the people, the good Samaritans, the good citizens in the country. Not only that, 60% of gun deaths are suicide related. So this notion that there's so many gun deaths every single year, they leave out important information. Very important information. Like I just said, the CDC, 80% are gang related, 60% of gun deaths are suicide. Now, I do not have the source for this study on me right now, but I'll have to find it later. But you can believe me when I say this, is that gun crime has actually been decreasing over the years. And guess what? Gun ownership has been going up. What we can conclude from that is that gun ownership and gun crime are inversely proportional. That means the more guns that are sold, the more the crime rate drops. The less guns that are sold, the higher the crime rates become. What's more, and this is an argument that I think everyone makes, and those on the left keep ignoring it, look at Chicago. Chicago has some of the most restrictions on guns and gun control, and yet they're pretty much the homicide city of the world, of the country, because those that are committing gun crimes are gang members. They're not average citizens. The truth of the matter is that you will never be able to completely stop a lone gunman. There will always be nutcases in this country and in the world in general. People will do bad things because people are evil. Some people are inherently evil, and no matter what you do to try to prevent them, they will administer their evil deeds. They will perpetuate and try to perpetuate fear onto others and death onto others. Instead of trying to hide from that fact and try to make things harder for the average citizen to protect him or herself, we have to acknowledge this. When we acknowledge this, then we understand that the majority of citizens in the country are good, honest people, like the guy, the Good Samaritan, who chased down the Texas shooter. They are good people. I mean, I have a concealed carry permit, and I carry it with me. And people think that you can just basically conceal carry. I mean, there is training involved. You have to take a test. You have to study up. It's just not like they're giving guns out to anybody. I mean, the whole notion here, just to kind of, I guess, to summarize it here, the whole notion was that, or the whole thing is that the gunman had guns illegally. He was not supposed to have guns. He did a despicable thing, a horrible, nefarious, a malicious, malevolent thing, call it what you will, and a good, honest Samaritan with an AR-15 stopped him because he was a good person, and America has good people there. Yes, we will never be able to stop gun nuts, or crazy nuts, not gun nuts, I hate saying that word, assassin nuts, mass murder nuts. They will exist in a free society. That is the cost of freedom. But it's not okay to take away other people's freedoms, to try to prevent something that can never be fully prevented. And with that, I will change topics quickly to tax reform. Now, apparently, I read earlier today, the Senate is trying to refrain from dropping the corporate tax rate until 2019. If they do that, the Republicans will lose Congress next year. Congress has to get Congress has to get tax reform passed this year. They have to. There's no other way around it. If they don't, they will lose their seats in the 2018 midterms. 20% corporate tax cut, I think, is good. However, I think we have to cut spending, and Republicans never want to cut spending. Republicans want to cut taxes, which is good, but they never want to cut spending. And based on the House tax plan now, I haven't really looked through the Senate's version, but the House tax plan, it needs some work. It needs some work. Instead of 12, 25, and 35, I think they should change it. I think they should lower it more in the middle class. 25%, if I had my previous job, I was in a 25% bracket, and I was about middle class. And based on this new tax plan, nothing for me would have changed at all. So I was middle class, and my taxes would have stayed the same from Obama's tax plan to Trump's tax plan here. And we can't have that. We can't have that. We need people like me, how I was last job, to have extra money so we can go buy more things. When you buy more things, your GDP grows. So I think it needs some work, definitely needs some work, and we definitely should cut spending. You can't just cut taxes and not cut spending. But hey, what can you do? So we'll have to see what happens, but the Senate and the House will go into committee, and their committee hearings, they will work out dual proposal, and it will probably get passed. I think tax reform will get passed this year. How significant it will be is open for speculation, but they have to still do committee hearings, and the Senate and the House have to work together to draft complete unified legislation. And I think it will happen, but we don't know the logistics of it yet. We don't know exactly what will all be in it, what type of deductions will be there, what will the corporate tax rate end up being, when will it take effect, what will individual tax rates be, things of that nature. So we'll have to keep an eye out in the near future. But yeah, sorry for not doing a video in the past few days. Hopefully I can get a few more going this weekend and things of that nature, and I might have something coming up in the future that I think people will like, so stay tuned for that. I am currently thinking on it and researching it a little bit, so I think you'll like it. But alright, that's all I have to say, and I'm done.